right, and welcome back to the Falcons Fanatic Podcast. And it's yet another loss, yet another very frustrating loss, very similar to the Saints game earlier on in this year. And the Falcons fall now to 6-6 even record as the Chargers beat us 17-13. And what a frustrating game this was. And I say that a lot, but it was just right there for us. And that's what the similarity to the Saints game is you have some missed kicks. I'm freaking out every time he comes out. You have some missed kicks. You have some missed opportunities. You have 4 interceptions. You've got lots of turnovers. And that's what really, really encapsulates the missed opportunities that we had in this game. And it's something that Raheem Morris talked about at halftime. And the Falcons went into halftime only down 9-7, really very much in this game. And Raheem Morris goes over. He's saying, hey, look, I understand. We've just got to make our opportunities. We had just lost. Kirk Cousins had just missed a throw to Darnell Mooney, which would have put us into field goal range. I don't know if Koo would have made it, but that's besides the point. And he's like, Raheem Morris is like, we've got to capitalize on our opportunities, and it's something that's plagued us in games in the past this year, and the Falcons were unable to do so. I think the Falcons absolutely deserved to win this game over the Chargers, and it was right there, just on a silver platter for us. The Falcons outgained the Chargers 350 yards to 187, and the 4 turnovers are a big part of that. The missed kick is a big part of that, and the reason that the missed kick is such an important part is because it changes decisions later on, where Kirk probably doesn't force as many throws as he does if we have the lead, right? If we can take the lead, especially the one that was the most frustrating, where the Falcons are down 4, early in the fourth quarter, we're driving. The Chargers had just gone for a fake punt, which I don't know why they did that, on 4th and 5 on their own 35. The Falcons get the ball, they're moving, and they're fighting for every single inch on this drive. Converted a couple 4th downs, and it's 3rd down and about 9. Our running game has not been working on this drive, so we have to throw it. And if you had watched any of this game before, you're thinking, that's a worrying sight. Kirk Cousins, not only did he show a lack of arm strength and zip on the ball, which we've seen throughout this season, but the first inkling of some really bad decision making earlier in this game, where he forces one throw, he double clutches. Either way, it's double covered, but he double clutches on a throw, gets the safety to help and bite down, throws it anyway to London, and the safety jumps and intercepts it. And he had another interception right here on this play, where Kirk Cousins extends the play well, which is something he doesn't usually do. And he has Bijan running. Basically, he was a check down. He's running upfield. He has, an opportunity to make 3 guys miss and score, right? Kirk Cousins has an opportunity to run and make a couple guys miss and score if he wants to. Instead, he tosses it up into a place where there is no player, and he's just hoping, he floats it. He's hoping a Falcons player comes down with it, and it goes straight into a place where no player is, and the Chargers basically just box everybody out, all the Falcons players out, intercept it. And it was just so frustrating because the Falcons could have kicked a field goal there, and I think they would have if they could have taken the lead. And I don't think Kirk Cousins forces that throw the same way that he forced that throw that we saw in real life happen. And if you look here, the red zone trips, Chargers did not. They were 0 for 2. Falcons were 1 for 4. Sort of similar penalties. Chargers got 7 for 33 yards. Falcons very disciplined, like the beginning of the year. Very, very disciplined. But the interceptions thrown, the time of possession, the yards differential, the yards per play differential, so frustrating. I liked every single choice Raheem Morris made in this game. I really did. Except the one choice I didn't like from Raheem Morris was to keep his full trust in Kirk Cousins. Because Kirk Cousins, time after time, made bad decisions. And it's not even like he was getting hurried that much. He had time in the pocket and he was making some bad decisions. There was the pick 6. Oh my God, that was a frustrating one. There was the pick 6 where Kirk Cousins just, sitting there, abiding his time. It's 4th down. Got to make a play. We would usually have kicked a field goal. But because Koo missed it earlier, and Koo has been injured, it's a 50, I'd say 55-yarder. Usually we try Koo and just give him a shot. Koo's not going to make it this time. There's a 0% chance of Koo making it in this in this circumstance. We had just converted a fourth down, literally the chain before. So it's 4th and 5 now. Kirk sits in the pocket, has his first read to Drake London, which is always on 3rd down or 4th down when we need to convert. Throws it, even though he's double covered. Safety drops down, picked. 6. And so that changed an opportunity for us to get 3 into a 7-point. That's a 10-point swing there. There was the Koo miss. That's 13 points. There was, and obviously the Falcons got a big swing with the fumble recovery. And it just seemed like the Falcons did a great job of shooting themselves in the foot, and the Chargers did a great job of letting the Falcons do that. And it showed a lot of poise on Justin Herbert, and it showed a lot of poise on, why can't I name their head coach? On their head coach. I'll get back to you in a second. Chargers head coach. Jim Harbaugh. Yes, it was Harbaugh. A lot of poise on Harbaugh just to punt it out when he trusted his defense, because he knew our offense wasn't going to move anything. And I know, obviously, he faked a punt, which I wouldn't have done. But I do think Justin Herbert had a lot more poise than Kirk Cousins, not to force things, to take some sacks when he needed to. Because as much as 4 interceptions is a lot, it could have been 5. It could have been 6. There was a couple of plays here where it was swinging back and forth, where Kirk Cousins forces a throw, but it gets tipped at the line, and it would have been picked otherwise. And that would have been another 3-point swing. And the Falcons ran Bijan into the ground in this one, and it seemed like they ran Koo and Kirk Cousins into the ground as well. And I don't know how many more games Kirk Cousins really has in him at this point, because I'm thinking for the future. The whole plan with Kirk Cousins was to have him for 2 years, then cut his contract with a minimal dead cap, and be able to bring in our QB of the future, that being Michael Penix. And we have done a decent job so far this year, I'd say, except for the last month. A month before now, I would say, great job. Kirk Cousins looks like he can be our quarterback for 2 years, maybe even 3. And you can see his arms, his zip on the ball is getting less and less each week. His decision making is getting worse and worse each week because he got a little bit of comfortability, I think. And he's making some really, really forced plays. And that was something that I thought he did in our other losses this year, is he's trying to do stuff that he knows he can't. And it was definitely the case in the Saints game. It was definitely the case in the Seahawks game. And those are games that you have to have. I mean, Seahawks, we're going to lose. Broncos, fine. We're going to put up bad performances. This Chargers and this Saints loss are games we have to have, especially because Tampa Bay won this week. They won last week, sorry. And they beat the Giants. Now they're playing the Panthers. They're going to win against the Panthers. I think that's pretty safe to say. It's 7-3 for them currently. And all of a sudden, we're just going to be one game up. We're going to be tied 6-6. And if you look down the stretch, sure, these schedules look pretty similar. And the Falcons have the Vikings, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do not have the Vikings. They already played the Lions earlier this year and beat them somehow. And so you're looking at it. You're looking at the schedule, and if you can get through the Vikings game, you should beat the Raiders. You should beat the Giants. But the Raiders did a good job against the Chiefs. I bet I guess everybody does. Should beat those two teams. Should beat the Commanders. Should lose to the Commanders. Should beat the Panthers. Realistically, we're gonna be 9-8 at the end of this season. Realistically. And if you look at the Buccaneers' rest of their schedule, they're going to be at 6-6, 7-6, 7-7 if they lose to the Chargers, but who knows? 8-7, 9-7, 10-7 with a win over the Saints. and the Falcons are out of the playoffs. This loss has really put the Buccaneers in control of their own destiny, and the Falcons out of control in their own destiny. Obviously, the Falcons can win out. Do I bet on the Falcons to do so when we've put up a month of horrible football, of absolutely disgusting football to watch? I do not. And it's really frustrating because I don't know how many more games out of our defense we're going to get like this. We come right after the bye, and our defense puts up an amazing performance against this Chargers team, who the Chargers took what they could get. And that's sort of the strength, I think, of this Falcons defense is we're going to allow you to get what you can have. But if you can really, really air it out against this team. But they weren't able to. The Falcons found a way. I know they got a little bit of health. They got a little bit more healthy, but I liked what I saw from D. Alford. I liked what I saw from Clark Phillips, both with pass breakups. D. Alford with the pass breakups. Caden Ellis with a huge pass breakup in the red zone. The Falcons bended but didn't break in the red zone, and that's going to flip week to week. Eva Cady got 2 sacks. Caden Ellis with a sack. Onyemata with a sack. Contavious Street with a sack. That's not going to happen often. You know, these pass deflections that we've seen by A.J. Terrell, Clark Phillips, Alford, and Simmons, we're not going to see that every single week. So, you know, you have to win these games when your defense gives you a game like this. And when you can win a game against the Chargers, you have to do so. Because you don't get a lot of opportunities to do so against a good Chargers team like this. And the Chargers put it out wide open on the plate. And so, yeah, like, Falcons really, really wanted to rush the ball because they wanted to protect Kirk Cousins' arm, and they knew he didn't have it today. And the Chargers forced us to pass it. They sold out for the run. They forced Kirk Cousins to make tough throws, at least, you know, put some zip on it, put it into a tight window, and Kirk Cousins at some points did. He had a nice tight window throw on the sideline to Ray McLeod, which could have gone either way. Caught a couple to Darnell Mooney that he missed, though, right? And had a couple to Drake London that he hit, that he always, our third down play, which is basically, Drake London, just stand yourself in the slot and give us a slant. And if that's not going to work, I don't know what to do. It's a choice route, right? Like, give us a choice route. If it's not Drake London, throw it to him anyway. If it's not Drake London, look for Darnell Mooney deep, throw it anyway, right? And don't look at Kyle Pitts' way. Just target him when he's absolutely, completely covered. I don't know. Ray McLeod with a good game had a huge 60-yard long catch, which really fired me up. And then the Falcons' offense didn't capitalize after being put in within the 10-yard line. That would have swung this game, and so many opportunities would have swung this game. Once again, I mean, looking on the defense side, like I said, really happy with what I saw from our secondary, but once again, Chargers offense, especially when you take away Ladd McConkey, who we did because of his injury, he's got this shoulder injury. They don't really have anybody. Josh Ballmer, I've had him on my fantasy team. I've seen what he can do. Not much. Quentin Johnson, same deal. They really don't have any receivers other than Ladd McConkey. And their rushers is Kamani Vidal and Gus Edwards, who they just brought up. So, once again, they're not going to do too much rushing the ball as well. And it's just, can Justin Herbert find Ladd McConkey, and can he piece together something? And he was able to do that. And the Falcons were able to take away what they needed to take away with their pass rush somehow, and our pass coverage more effectively, because our pass coverage led to these coverage sacks. There was nobody beating anybody off the edge or through the middle. It's just these opportunities were wasted, and it's happening again and again. It's been a month of losing Atlanta Falcons football, and somehow we're still first in our division. But our rope, we've run out of rope, right? Now we got to start winning games again. We got to start putting good performances together. And I'm hoping we come back with a rejuvenated Kirk Cousins. I'm hoping our defense is able to do what they did today. I am not confident that they'll be able to do that, but you have to hope. And that's basically our recipe for success is get out to a big lead, let Kirk Cousins sort of game manage his way, take what he can, don't force it, right? And he has to be in a comfortable position in the pocket and within the game to be able to do that. And, you know, try not to ruin Bijan Robinson's legs, because 26 carries and a lot in that third quarter is just too many for Bijan. And eventually the Chargers just started selling out for the run anyway and walloping him. It's not, it's not sustainable. It really isn't. But like I said, we were afforded to lose this game. But all of a sudden, those margins become a whole lot thinner. We go to the Vikings next week, and it's looking like we're going to need a win out of this Vikings game, a Vikings team who are 10-2. They win once again over the Cardinals in the last second win on a touchdown pass from Sam Darnold. It's a defense that's really strong. It's a defense that can rush the passer. Sort of a similar thing to the Chargers. And their offense can game manage you. So it's similar to the Chargers game we lost. It's similar to the Seahawks game we lost. In the Steelers game, Chiefs. These teams, the common denominator is they can rush the quarterback. The Broncos can rush the quarterback. And we lost those games when they're able to get to Kirk and they're able to make him uncomfortable. And 4 interceptions. I think Kirk now is leading the league in interceptions so far. He's got to figure some stuff out, and he cannot force these throws, or else we're going to be looking at Michael Penix. And I think we should have been. And I think the reason we didn't see Michael Penix in this game was because the ownership, or whoever it was, if it was Terry Fontenot, or if it was Raheem Morris, they did not want to upset Kirk by throwing Michael Penix out there to win. And they didn't want the Falcons the best chance to win this game, because I know Penix would have been able to make those throws. He would have been able to put some zip on it, but they didn't give him that opportunity. So we'll see. Next year, I think, if we are in the same situation next year, I think Penix gets put in the game. Penix probably is starting by this time next year. I think Kirk Cousins finishes out this season. We have like a little bit of, he'll get it back next season. This is really, really pivotal for this next 5-game stretch to end the season. Is pivotal for Raheem Morris, for Kirk Cousins, for Terry Fontenot, for Michael Penix. If we can go out and beat the Vikings, if we can go out, beat the Raiders, Giants, Commanders, and Panthers, if we can win 4 out of these 5 games, then we're looking good going into next season with a positive, happy fan base, and I'll be happy with this season. If we go 3-2, maybe, right? 3-2, I guess I'll buy it. Anything less than 3-2, I'm not buying it anymore. And I want to see change. And the Falcons fans are going to want to see change. And, season after season we want to see change, and it's never works. And the problem is we can't change because we spent so much money locked up in Kirk Cousins. So there's going to be a limited amount of change that we can actually see. And I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be getting any better, going to be getting any younger next season. So we'll see how this ends up for the Falcons, but it's a really, really frustrating loss against the Chargers in a game that we really should have won. And we're leaving the door open for every other team in the NFC South to come rushing back into the fray. And we're leaving, and we're closing the door on ourselves with a lot of easy win games, easy opportunities to really get this fan base back into this team. The 7-10, finishing the season 7-10 is still a possibility. So, hold your hats. But easy schedule coming up, I guess. Anyway, that has been it for the Falcons Fanatic Podcast. I've been your host, Lucky Roberts. As always, you can follow me on Twitter. You don't have to do that. Your choice, your life. I appreciate you guys for listening, and hopefully we have something to smile about next weekend. So, we'll play the Vikings. Probably not. We'll see. Anyway.